joining us live on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. He is making his return to Philadelphia, a 5-year deal for
Never should have left.
James Van
Never
Riemsdyk, and he's here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. JVR, welcome back. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing great. It's good to have you back. I think, as you heard Pete there, never should have left. I think a lot of people thought the same way, but here you are back. Did you ever see the possibility of wearing the orange and black again?
You know what? It's one of those things I think you realize pretty early on that you just never know, and you never say never to anything. So I remember, again, my first stint with the Flyers, you had guys like Brian Boucher who were in their third stint, I think, with the organization. So so stuff like that tends to happen. And, again, I'm happy with the way it all worked out.
Last year, 36 career-high goals, and this is a team that's been looking for that left wing, a guy who could put the puck in the net. What do you think has changed or evolved in your game going to Toronto?
Yeah, well, certainly every year you play and you get better experience and you learn things about yourself and what makes you successful and what you need to do. So there's certainly that some stuff. Again, I've definitely grown in that sense, but also I think, again, I was the situations of the teams that I went to, obviously coming from a Philadelphia team that was a little bit more established in certain areas and going to a team in Toronto 6 years ago that had some more needs and certainly for what my role was going to be there. So I was able to play a little bit more significant of a role and got a chance to play some power play, more in the power play, bigger role 5-on-5 and stuff like that. And I just wanted to kind of take that and run with it. So I think, again, getting some of those opportunities was key and gives you that confidence to, again, hopefully grow your game to another level. But as far as style, I think I'm still pretty similar to what I've always been. Just trying to, again, be a bigger guy who skates well, has good hockey sense, has good skills, and can make plays in all three zones.
James Van Riemsdyk with us. James, I saw somebody after the news broke that you were signing and coming back to Philadelphia say that 36 goals was a lofty expectation given the way Toronto plays versus the way the Flyers play. What expectations? Do you agree with that comment of the person that tried to say, like, the Leafs play fast break hockey and that's why you got so many chances up there and it's going to be tougher in South Philly?
Well, you know what I mean? Again, certainly with the way style of play certainly does factor into things like that for sure. I think, again, I was lucky to play with a lot of great players in Toronto, which was great. But then also, again, looking at the players that are in Philadelphia, I'm going to get a chance to play with some great players there too, and hopefully get a chance to play a little bit bigger role, particularly 5-on-5 would be awesome. And again, I think there's lots of great pieces in place, so I'm excited to join that and be a part of all that. As far as setting certain number goals, I've never really done that. I just try to put my best foot forward and make the best of the situations that I'm put in as a player.
Do you have some of the guys, obviously, Claude Giroux just got married, for example. You know some of the guys, then some of the guys are new to you. Are you excited about some of the young guys that you're going to get to join, the Nolan Patricks of the world, the Travis Konecny's of the world, these young guys that you haven't played with before?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, that's one of the part that we're going through this free agency process. We try to look at so many different things, and one of the things that was definitely intriguing about Philadelphia is all the good young talent they have now and all the talent that they have coming. So, again, you can name just guys at every position, whether it's goalies, defensemen, up front, young players that are on the team that have taken some big steps and that will continue to get better and better. So to join something like that was a pretty exciting opportunity for me.
Are we not talking enough, James, about the home factor too? New Jersey native. I know your parents are over the moon of where you've chosen to play. There were a lot of people that thought you might go to the Rangers. They're thrilled that you ended up on Broad Street.
Yeah, that's definitely when it comes down to it, it's one of those things that you have that comfortability to a degree. I mean, obviously, I know a lot of people within the organization, different staff. Obviously, there's different management now and different coaches there. But, again, some of the staff that I know and some of the players that I know, and obviously being close to home, that was all just positive stuff as far as I was concerned about when I was trying to weigh everything out to make the best decision.
James, from the outside, being in Toronto the last couple of years, looking in at Philly, is the perception of this team that it's got a young talent with the arrow pointing up? Because it seems like they have kind of been stuck in this middle area for a while, but was one of the things you mentioned about the young talent. But from the outside looking in around the league, do people look at this Flyers team as they got some young players and they're moving up, and you jumping in takes them to another level?
Yeah, I think, like you said, that's a really exciting part about it. I think, again, obviously you have to have good veterans in place to set the good tone and be leaders, whether that's by example or in other ways. And I think they have a lot of that. They have some good pros and some guys who know what it takes and some guys with high-end skill that are really kind of leading the way. And then, again, when you have young guys that come into an environment like that, it allows them to play to their potential and allows them to really again, grow as players. So I think, again, you look at all the different guys that they have coming in. I mean, obviously the run that the Phantoms went on too. Obviously that only speaks to the future of things to come for the Flyers and stuff like that. So, again, obviously all that stuff is exciting. And again, even just from playing the Flyers, particularly last year, again, you definitely noticed and were aware of the kind of the evolution of some of the younger guys. Where when we played them later in the year, they just seemed that much more confident out there and that much more comfortable. Just again, having that experience of a full season is a big deal.
Now, Hexie was on with us last week, and we asked him about who he envisioned. He mentioned Nolan Patrick as a guy at the top of the list, and maybe even Claude Giroux. Is there a guy that you think your skill set would fit in perfectly with on this current roster?
Yeah, I think the best part about it is, again, there's going to be lots of different looks and lots of different options. I mean, you look up and down the lineup and you see some different things that are maybe some moving parts and some different things. So, again, if things need to be shifted around, it's always nice to have different options of guys to play with. And I think, again, that was the great thing about looking at Philadelphia. You got all these different skill sets of players and lots of talented players in their own ways and different things that they bring to the table. So I thought just, again, the kind of game that I like to bring would fit in well with that. And again, speaking of individual type players, again, like you said it, I think there is going to be some interesting decisions and stuff like that to make. Certainly, obviously, Nolan Patrick, again, the strides that he took, I think last year as a player was great to see. Obviously, as a young guy, coming into the league and trying to figure things out. I think, again, as the year went on, kept getting better and better. So just, again, maybe to get a chance to post someone like him would be pretty cool too.
You were that young guy when you left. You're a little bit older, but not over the hill, as they say. James Van Riemsdyk with us. What was it like, James, playing for Mike Babcock, and what do you think it'll be like playing for Dave Hackstall? How much do you know about Hack?
Yeah, you know what? I think speaking of Hack, I got a chance to talk to him a little bit over the course of the free agency process and get a better feel for him as a person and as a coach. And again, I think I like what he's done and what he's all about, and I'm really excited to get a chance to work with him. I think again, he seems someone who's a pretty bright guy, and I like what he's done there with how he's trying to play with the last couple of years too. So yeah, speaking of that, I think I couldn't be more excited for that opportunity.
James Van Riemsdyk is with us. Of course, you just returned to the Flyers. It seems like it was just the other day that you're here. You were in Toronto for 6 years. I mean, did it seem that long that you were out of Philadelphia?
You know what? It definitely flies by, that's for sure. I mean, just thinking about it, that it's 6 years that goes by. It went by pretty quickly. So, again, it's crazy how fast it seems to go. I know everyone, when you first come into the league, everyone tells you that. Just make sure you really look around and enjoy it every once in a while because it goes by pretty quick. So
sure does.
Yeah, that's funny in that sense. But, yeah, like you said, I had a great experience last time with how I was treated and stuff last time. And, again, you love the great thing about the Flyers organization is that they're going to do whatever it takes to try to find an edge to win. So
yeah.
That's an environment that you want to be around.
It's funny because you're right about that. You mentioned Bush being on the third stint. You're right. So many guys seemingly come back here, and many of them end up living in the area when they're finished playing. And obviously you grew up around, in North Jersey, but where are you kind of hanging out this summer? Where are you stationing yourself for the summertime?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm actually I'm in Minnesota for a little bit, and then I'm in Toronto training and stuff like that. So I kind of go back and forth between there. Actually, last week got a taste of another taste of the Jersey Shore with some buddies up closer to North Jersey where I'm at. So it was kind of cool to be back and kind of be more in that environment of being in this kind of tri-state area sort of thing. So, again, that was cool.
Well, before we let you go, James, the only hiccup of this deal was that we need to buy you ink for your laser printer, or what was the deal there?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So, like, my printer at my condo here, I guess I never really set it up. And usually the concierge at my building, like, they have a printer down there, and whenever I need to print stuff, I go down there and it's a pretty seamless process. But they were having some issues with the printer there, so that was kind of funny. Where I was getting some text from my agent, like wondering what the heck was going on, and I'm like, I had to explain to him what was happening. Finally, we got it sorted out and got it signed, sealed, and delivered, and be happier about it.
5-year deal. He's back in Philly. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you play in that Operation Hat Trick game in Atlantic City back in 12?
Oh yeah, I played in that. That was unbelievable. I think, I definitely remember that very vividly during the lockout and how that was like a raucous environment for that sort of game. That was, again, it just speaks to the market that we're in now and playing in Philadelphia, how much people love sports and how much people support the hockey and stuff like that. So, I mean, I couldn't be happier coming to a place like that.
Yeah, I remember I called that game on the radio that night. It was the only broadcast in the country of that game because there was hockey going on at that time. I kind of remember you being a part of that game and how electric that building was for people just dying to see some hockey and how cool it was that you guys – and it was for a good cause, for the Sandy stuff. But the fact that that game – the electric in that building was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's definitely a great memory of mine. Obviously playing in lots of different environments and different situations and different games and stuff like that over the years, and that was certainly a pretty thrilling thing. Like you said, like the kind of how things came about for that and the timing of it and what it signified for the area. That just obviously had some issues with the Sandy stuff, and to come together like that, and it was pretty cool.
James Van Riemsdyk, everybody, here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. He will be a part of the Flyers. Welcome back, JVR. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.